I know people have nicey experiences and euphoric experiences,
Yeah.
and they think, do you think I don't think those things happen because I don't talk about them much? Well, that's
Right.
because that's not my research. I don't need, look,
Right.
there's 3.6 billion people on this planet have had euphoric experiences with probably this phenomena. They don't need another one to be added to the list. All I'm doing is I'm bringing to the table what should be there. What's missing is the
Hmm.
other side of this, because people just go, it doesn't fit with the good stuff. Let's get rid of it, and they will do.
Yeah.
They'll get rid of it. They'll hide it away. You don't get to. It's harder to find this type of stuff, but it exists. And the
Cognitive
thing is,
dissonance.
it happens. And I keep saying to people, look, the phenomenon. This is the phenomena that it's the same. It's the same hand that feeds. That's the same hand it bites. Yeah, you don't know what type of experiences people are going to have. Some craft come down outside, you see it, and you think, oh, this is interesting. You don't know what's going to result. Is it going to be a positive experience or negative? People don't know that, and people need to be aware of
Hmm.
this. They need to be given the full set of cards to say, look, might not happen, but this could happen. Let people decide, not just paint a picture of all love and light, and then people going through terrible traumatic experiences, which connects
Hmm.
a lineage for them because the phenomenon's got a hitchhiker and it's hooked into them and it follows a genetic code down their path. It's this guy who got wrong information, who've experienced phenomena, is now unfortunately going to pass it on to his kids and their kids. And, and that's the big problem. I just want to put it all on the table and say, look, guys, make your own mind up. It's your choice if you want to do that. But at least be aware of the negative and the positive, both sides of the coin, not just it's all love and light. And that's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to bring the
Right.
level back up a bit, because all the love and light stuff never gets put away and hidden away. It's promoted. But I'm trying to say, well, you know what? It's not all love and light. And
Hmm.
my researchers focuses in that particular area. And
Right.
you know what? There are many people that are saying the same thing now. Lots of people. There are people coming forward that have never spoke about it before, but feel now is the time to speak about it.
Right.
So it's happening. I just
And
want to make sure that it's level ground a bit, to be
and I
honest with you.
have.
Anybody that's having an encounter, the first thing the phenomenon do is take the measure of man. It's going to have a good deep look at you, and it's going to figure out, okay, what would you perceive me to be? Okay, all right, so you're into the subjects of UFOs. Here's a UFO for you. People think that these are craft for carrying occupants. The UFO is part of the phenomenon, which can be metaphysical, so it can be left behind in a physicality for us to interact with. But when they are tied in, the NHI are tied in with this craft, which makes it sentient, it means that craft can be metaphysical. So one minute you might see it, next minute you still see it, but the only difference is that one of them's physical, the other one isn't. And this is why you got pilots seeing them and saying, "Have you got it on radar?" And they're saying, "Yes, we've got it on radar." Oh, hang on, it's just disappeared off radar. Well, no, it's not, because it's still in front of me.
Mm.
No, they've
And,
just switched it. They've just
and
switched. There's no radar or anything hitting off them because they're not physical anymore. But
right.
this is the problem. Just because we see them doesn't mean that they're not physical. Here we go. Because this is the problem we can't get our heads around. We assume if we see it, it's physical. No. If we see a ghost, an apparition, are they physical?
No.
Well, I've seen figures which look real humans. You could say some apparitions are. They look physical, real, just like you and me, until they walk through a wall. You think, hang on a second, this is the same mechanics that's been involved here. The very same physical mechanics that have been involved. And that's where I did my work for many years, in paranormal mechanics. And when I started going through hit after hit after hit regarding, that's the same as paranormal. It's the same for parapsychological. We have different terms for everything, but it's the same thing. In parapsychological terms, we have something called transplacement. It's hearing a voice in the head. It's part of communications. It's telepathy in UFO stuff. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just got a different name and a different rap. But people aren't cross-terming because the compartmentalization is so strong. We should never have had any compartmentalization. I said to one guy about a week ago, where do you put those cases where UFOs have been seen with Bigfoot, or Bigfoot turns into a ball of light and flies away? What would you do? And he went, I'd have to create another box. I said, there's your problem.
Yep.
You're going to create another box? There
Yep.
should be no boxes. This is what the problem is. And it hinders investigation and research because your conclusion isn't in the UFO box. It's in the paranormal box over there, or the cryptid box over here. You know, unless it's the problem that people aren't putting it all together.
It can even, and I've noticed cases, and this was actually exactly like it was described, where I heard someone mention this, where everyone who was around me, even if they were at a distance, should have seen that because the sky lit up. And I was like, whoa. And I was excited because I was like, ran to my girlfriend. I'm like, hey, did you see that? And they're like, no, we didn't see anything. And I'm like, what the hell? I was like, how? Like, and it's like, there are cases where people are standing next to each other and one will see a craft or some phenomena and the other person won't see it for whatever reason. Kind of like we were talking about the measure of man.
The conscious connection causes quantum entanglement with the phenomena. So you are having your personal experience, but you don't think it's personal because someone next to you, you think they're sharing it with you. Not all the time. This could be for you. You might be the only people that see it. You know, a large craft the size of a football field could travel across a town in Manchester, in Earlham, in 1998. It was huge. Only 6 people saw it, and 2 of them were police officers. Only 6 people, 4 people on a bus, and 2 police officers. That was it. You know, so it doesn't make sense. But then some people are, I would say, have a conscious connection or some type of quantum entanglement with the phenomena. I think once you have it, though, I think it's maintained. You know, they're pretty much in control of that. But I think, yeah, we've got to get past this. Everything is black and white. You know, science has told us this, but science is wrong. You know, and we've still got a long way to go. And we're skirting quantum physics and stuff because we just don't want to get into. But we're going to have to. There's no escape from this. The only way forward is to dive into that realm of understanding. They didn't want to dive into it because it means that we've got to start emptying out what we do know of physics in this cup. We've got to throw half of it away, pour it away, and relearn. And they don't like change, science, but hey, you know, that's what science is. It's not supposed to be right all the time. It's supposed to be developing, you know.
Steve, have you ever encountered anything, especially doing a lot of work and research over in the UK? Have you crossed any cases of like Fae encounters that people have or anything like that, of the gentry or anything?
Yep, absolutely. It goes back a long time. I mean, even modern day accounts, you know, they still do happen, Fae encounters. Of course, you know, it doesn't always all happen in Ireland neither. You know, a lot of people think it does. Well, yeah, that's kind of, yeah, you could say, well, yeah. I mean, I've witnessed some crazy stuff in Ireland, and yeah, it does go on. Fae encounters are being replaced by other types of non-human intelligence, you know, because it's phasing out. Less and less people believe in the Fae stuff, you know, and fairies. And the more they do it, the phenomenon evolves and starts to change and phases out. Where's all the Space Brothers gone, for an example? Mm-hmm. Where are they all? You know, well, it was very fashionable at the time and everybody thought it, but we're stuck with the ET as being primarily the grey at the moment. And that's because of the internet. You know, you go down the road and you talk to kids, 6, 7, 8 years, 10-year-olds, draw me an alien face. What do you think they're going to draw? They're going to draw an alien grey face, I assure you, because they can't. It's in their cartoons, it's in serials, it's in food coverings, it's in movies, it's on the internet, it's everywhere. It's absorbed into the subconscious. And what does the phenomena do best? Is read itself from your subconscious to fashion itself an archetype. And that archetype is here to stay for quite some time, the alien grey. You know, because not many people think it's, you know, humanoids anymore, therefore they're not. But before the fashion of even the Nordics and the Pleiadians and all that sort of thing, before that, there were various different ones, you know, different sizes, different shapes. You got people saying, oh, there's 4 different types of ETs, you know, aliens. And I just like, there's thousands Thousands. All you got to do is look through the archive of reported, documented phenomena from around the world. Thousands of variations of these things, because it's fashioning itself to what the culture is at that time. The thing is, though, we move on, and that moves on, evolves with us. So hence, we now have come away from the Space Brothers and into the, more the ET seems to be the greys these days. Sometimes you get the tall ones, the large ones, the small ones. There's 56 variations of the grey itself. They can't even get that right, But then that's without getting into your cryptid stuff, which are metaphysical, a lot of this stuff. And other anomalies. Your Owlman with red eyes. Your Chupacabra with red eyes. Your Virginia alien with red eyes. The Owlman, the list goes on and on and on. Skinwalker, Ranch, and all sorts of different things. So the problem is that we're dealing with archetypes. We're not dealing with variations of beings here. And the evidence supports now that if you can get good evidence that these are extraterrestrial traveling from various other planets, then please let's see it. Because I keep asking for it and no one can deliver. Because it doesn't exist. Even Arrow have confirmed this. For the Pentagon UFO program confirmed it. Well, we know it's happening, but we've not enough evidence to support it's extraterrestrial. NASA decided to join the crew and do a search, and they concluded exactly the same thing. Yes, they know they're being filmed. Yes, the people are seeing these things. But there's not enough evidence of extraterrestrial. The SETI astronomers turned around and said, in fact, space is unusually quiet. Unusually quiet? Do you know how many sightings we're having currently on planet Earth on the day? And this is only going off statistics of countries that will deliver the information to us or actually catch data. It's about one between every 8 and 15 seconds on a 24-hour basis. That's hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of UFOs seen on a 24-hour basis around planet Earth. Now, we might say, well, we're being conservative. All right, yeah, some of them are misidentifications of aircraft and some might be fake. But how many people are actually even reporting them? Probably less. So it has to be highly conservative. But even when we do that, we say, well, where are they all coming from then? Because there's no superhighway passing backwards and forwards to Earth. There's stuff, a few bits going on. Yes, they're always interested in ours technology and what we're doing up there. Yeah, they have a look around. But where are they all coming from? Well, they're coming from here. They're coming in reality and stepping in and they're stepping out and going about their business. But they're terrestrial based. It might be interdimensional, but they have a strong connection here on planet Earth, not from other planets. And that's the big problem. So we've got to kind of digest and say, look, there's still people will say, no, they've got to be extraterrestrial. Why? Because they told me they come from this planet. Well, I said, do you know how many hundreds of planets they keep saying they come from? In fact, when they first, do you know what? In fact, they said initially, we come from the moon. Yeah, no, they don't come from the moon. We realise that there's no civilization on the moon. Might be some of our stuff up there, maybe. But we haven't found any civilization on the moon. So they changed the stories to say, oh, well, we're Venusians, we come from Venus. Of course, probes going to Venus realise it's a highly poisonous environment. These are humanoids, they breathe our air and eat food like us because they've interacted with us on planet Earth. So therefore, I don't think the biological body would do well there. So the story changed again, and then it was Mars, and then and now it's this planet. And it's going further and further and further away every single time. They keep telling us about problems, disasters. Oh, yes, we're showing images of explosions and the world, volcanoes going in and earthquakes and all sorts of terrible, terrible things. They come and go. They didn't happen. So why did they keep doing that? It's like a one-liner. They tell the kids. If they see kids, here's the one-liner. Oh, we're very worried about your planet Earth. You got to see if you got to do something better. You got to do something. Why tell the kids go and land on the White House lawn? You're better talking to politicians about about ecology of planet Earth rather than 6 or 7-year-olds playing in the playground one day. And they've done that to over 100 schools worldwide. Why? Because it's a ruse. It keeps going. They're not interested in saving planet Earth, or they would have done it by now, because it's getting worse by the day. It's getting to the point now we might even get to seriously not be able to reverse the problems that we've caused. because it's going to take 25 years if we press the stop button now. And do you know what? It's just, I don't think it's going to happen. I think they'll rather spend more trillions and trillions of dollars looking for new planet Earth than saving old planet Earth. Are the aliens doing anything? Are these beings doing anything? No, not interested. Are they stopping wars? No, but they like to watch them. They like to watch the skirmishes and battles, but they won't stop them. You know, it's the problem for me is that, you know, when you talk about how they care and this, that, and the other, it more sounds like an agenda and an experiment.
It's-
And like they're the caretakers, the watchers, and they're just going about looking after themselves and what they want to do. Not really about us, though, really, I don't think.
yeah, you know, where is it? When? So, like, when are you guys going to, I don't know, like, even if it affects them and they're Earth-based, which I want to touch upon here, is like, what steps are you doing? You know, you hear about, oh, well, they went over this nuclear facility or this nuclear missile base, military base, but then testing's okay. You know, we've had, you know, hundreds of tests in the ocean, killing ocean wildlife. And let's say that they have bases under the ocean, and there's some evidence that goes towards that, and there's some theories that go towards that, you know, still debatable, but they haven't stopped any of that, and you would think that that would have an adverse effect on their living conditions, right? But, you know, this is the whole thing of moving the goalpost. Which I've seen you talk about before, which you just mentioned now. Oh, we're the moon. Oh, well, they figured out we're not on the moon. Oh, so we're at Mars and Venus, and they keep moving. Now we're Alpha Centauri, right? And then you, of course, go up upon the whole distance that it would take. Now, we're still thinking with our human mind as far as our technology. Who knows what, you know, an extraterrestrial civilization that's 100, you know, a million years ahead of us that still survived might come up with, but that's aside the point. And so when you get to that, and you get to like Earth-based and how they're moving the goalpost as far as this extraterrestrial narrative, we have our own researchers here on Earth, which I won't name, that they want to bolster that extraterrestrial narrative for their own gain or their disinformation. And one of those things comes up with is metamaterials, right? So they're saying, okay, we got this piece, you got to Travis Taylor or somebody like that will go out and they'll go out into Nevada desert, or they'll pick up a piece of rock, you know, and they'll say, oh, well, we've analyzed it, and 4% isotopic ratio says that this is like not Earth material, or it's, you know, manufactured, but only an alien civilization could do this, and that tries to bolster their extraterrestrial hypothesis.
Oh, yeah, you're absolutely right, John. The thing is, it's like the best way I can describe it is going to the bar and making up your own cocktail. You know, I mean, just by look, I tell you what, let's add a bit of this and add a bit of that. Make my own. I'm going to make my own cocktail. Da, 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 da. And I taste it, and it's absolutely wow. People want it all the time. That's what metamaterial analysis is. Because when we first found these things and looked at what they consist of, because we know exactly what they consist of, when we put them under micron and telescopes and atomic analysis, we can see break down what they're made of. We know exactly what they're made of. But we've never dreamed to put them together. That's what the scientists say. Well, well, I just never thought of putting that with that. Who knows? And all of a things, adding these things together, it creates magic. Creates things that they would never experience. You know, certain frequencies are being applied to make them lose weight or even gain weight, 70 times more, actually, more weight than the value is. So it's weight fluctuation, light fluctuation, you know, you can get from levitation to cloaking and all sorts of different things. It goes back with the use of what you might refer to as monatomic powder as well, or the real stuff. You know, I'm not talking about the stuff you can just go and buy on eBay, you know, the proper stuff, you know. But yeah, there's elements of that can be, you know, it's manufactured that can be affected by terahertz frequency, where it loses 43% of its visualization. Where's it phasing to? Nobody really knows, you know, but once you take the terahertz frequency back, it manifests again. So, and I know about, you know, levitation, you know, because it was, you know, when they first created it, it was placed into stone bowls, because to vaporize gold, you need a tremendous amount of heat, up to nearly 6,000 degrees. we can't just stick it. It's got to be in an industrial oven. So what do you put the gold in that doesn't melt? Well, you have to use a special stone, which is volcanic stone bowl, to put it in. And they're heavy. I don't know if you've ever really heavy condensed these things. But when it came out, when it turned vaporized, it literally just, they just could pick it up with a finger. Because the stuff was in contact with the bowl, and the bowl became affected by weightlessness. So they realised that, yeah, these applications can be used, as well as, because really what you're generating there is alchemy. It's ancient alchemy, which was used many, many years back, and this is how they knew about it. But in modern day, it's going to be weaponized. It's going to be added into the skin of things, nanotech skins, which have got different layers of bismuth and magnesium and silver oxide and all sorts of different things to create different things. And there is lots of wonderful little toys you can create with it.